Have you ever wondered why it seems like, no matter how hard you try, financial success remains out of reach? Maybe you're tired of working hard, but always feeling like your money disappears before the end of the month. Perhaps, until today, you have believed that the problem lies with your salary or the opportunities that have not yet arrived. But what if I told you that the real obstacle is not out there, but inside you? The truth is that, like you, many have felt trapped in this cycle of stress and frustration with their finances. I know what it's like to look at your bills at the end of the month and feel that tightness in your chest, wondering how you could have done better. That's exactly why I'm here, to show you that there's a solution, and it starts with a simple but powerful change in your mindset. In the next few minutes, I will guide you along a path that transforms the way you think, act, and deal with money. Let's get to the root of the problem. Understanding why our desires often exceed our capacity and how excessive comparisons and judgments prevent us from moving forward. Most importantly, I will show you how, with the right strategy, you can change your financial reality, multiply your resources, and finally, achieve the freedom you've always wanted. If you're tired of living in debt or feeling like you'll never get out of your place, I invite you to continue with me on this journey. At the end of the video, you will have the necessary tools to transform your financial results, and best of all, without having to give up who you are or what really matters to you. Are you ready to take the first step towards prosperity? First, make sure you've already subscribed to the channel so you don't miss our next videos. Imagine Pedro, an ordinary guy with a good job and a stable salary. He always wanted to have that sports car he saw in magazines and live in a luxurious neighborhood, like some of his friends. Every time I saw someone achieving these things, I felt a pang of frustration. Why can't I have this too, he thought. Until one day, without thinking twice, Pedro decided to finance a car that was way above his budget. Soon after, he decided to rent an apartment in an expensive neighborhood because he believed it would be best for his family. He felt like he was finally living the dream. At first, Pedro was euphoric. People praised the new car. The house was beautiful and he felt on top of the world. But shortly after, reality began to knock on the door. The car payments and apartment rent were much heavier than he had calculated. Without realizing it, Pedro was sinking into debt. Every month, it was a struggle to pay the bills, and he started using his credit card to cover basic expenses like groceries and gas. The feeling of success quickly gave way to a roller coaster of negative emotions, anxiety, regret, and a constant feeling that I would never have enough money. Pedro realized that he was living to impress others and not to meet his true needs. He had created his own financial problems based on comparisons and uncontrolled desires. Only after much reflection did he understand that to have a healthy financial life, it was necessary to live within his means and control his consumption impulses. Just like Pedro, many people fall into this trap of seeking a lifestyle that does not match their financial reality. Comparisons, social media, and the desire to be like others can lead us to make bad decisions. Therefore, it is essential to reflect on what really matters to you and make conscious choices with money. After all, living a balanced financial life is one of the greatest sources of inner peace. Did you identify with Pedro's story? Often, the first step to getting out of a financial hole is recognizing that we create many of our problems ourselves. And the good news is, there is always time to change and adjust the direction of our financial life. Now let's talk about Joanna, a determined woman full of dreams. As a child, Joanna grew up in a humble family and always heard her parents saying that the only way to prosper was to work hard. Inspired by this idea, she started working from an early age, saving every penny she earned. Over time, Joanna got a stable job and little by little, she achieved some things. She bought a motorcycle, then a simple car, and finally managed to finance her own house. But something started to bother Joanna. Despite all her achievements, she found herself stagnant. Every month, the salary barely covered the bills, and there was very little left for savings or investments. She looked at people around her who, apparently, grew up much faster. What am I doing wrong? He asked himself. It was then that Joanna understood a valuable lesson. Her ability to generate and manage money needed to grow along with her dreams. Joanna realized that prosperity is not just about how hard you work, but about how much you develop your capabilities. She began studying finance, understanding investments, and looking for ways to increase her income. Over time, Joanna was no longer content with just doing the basics at work. Instead, he began to propose solutions, lead projects, and stand out for his initiative. This new behavior led to promotions, new businesses, and a much more stable financial life. Joanna's story is a clear example of how our capacity limits or expands our level of prosperity. Often, what impedes our financial growth is the fact that we are only doing what is expected of us. It's no wonder that people who stick to the basics are rarely recognized or rewarded in a meaningful way. On the other hand, those who develop above-average skills, who increase their knowledge and face challenges with creativity, are those who achieve true prosperity. So, the big lesson here is your ability is what defines how far you can go. If you feel like you're stagnating financially, maybe it's time to expand your skills, gain new knowledge, and prepare for the next level of achievement. Just like Joanna, you can transform your financial life by expanding your capabilities and constantly seeking to be better than you were yesterday. If you want to follow Joanna's example and develop your capacity and achieve prosperity, I am giving you the opportunity to purchase an ebook where you will learn everything about finance, investments, and ways to increase your income. But take advantage because we have few units available. To purchase our ebook, click on the link in the description or in the first pinned comment. Let's proceed. When we talk about financial success, many people think that the secret is just making more money or finding the magic formula for $1 million business. However, the true path to prosperity begins within us, in our mindset. The way you think about money, work, and success determines how much you will be able to achieve. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, "I'll never be able to make a lot of money," or "money isn't for me"? These limiting beliefs create an invisible barrier that prevents any financial progress. The truth is, if you don't believe you can thrive, you're unlikely to see the opportunities that are around you. Change starts with the mind. Without a mindset focused on growth and abundance, no financial strategy will be truly effective. That's why the first step to changing your financial reality is to adjust your way of thinking. Ask yourself, what are the beliefs that are preventing me from moving forward? Do you believe that money is hard to earn, or that only lucky people can prosper? Each of these thoughts acts as a mental block, limiting your actions and results. And that's the key. If you change your mindset, your finances will follow suit. A thriving mindset doesn't just mean thinking positive, but adopting a set of beliefs that drive your actions. It's believing that you can learn, that you can grow, and that success is a matter of effort and knowledge. It's knowing that, even when faced with challenges, you are capable of overcoming them and moving forward. When you adopt this mindset, you begin to see opportunities where before you only saw difficulties. Your way of looking at work, money, and financial decisions changes completely. So, if you are looking for a real transformation in your financial life, start with your mind. Work on eliminating limiting thoughts and replacing them with beliefs that empower you. Remember, success starts from the inside out. Are you enjoying this content? If so, leave your like and help other people understand the power of mindset to achieve financial success. When we talk about prosperity, it's easy to focus only on the financial aspect, but the truth is that prospering goes far beyond money. To achieve a truly prosperous life, we need to find a balance between the material and spiritual worlds. This means that as we work hard to achieve our financial security, we must not lose sight of the spiritual principles and values that guide us. Think about it. Have you ever known someone who had a lot of money but seemed constantly dissatisfied, anxious, or even unhappy? This happens because when the focus is exclusively on the accumulation of material goods, life loses some of its shine. Of course, money is important, It helps us pay the bills, take care of our family, and enjoy special moments. However, the problem arises when it becomes the only priority and we start to idolize it. Spiritual balance comes into play to remind us that money is a tool, not an end goal. If your only desire is to get rich to show success or to surpass others, you may end up feeling empty, even with a full bank account. True prosperity involves using money wisely and in line with your life purpose. This means investing in things that really matter: family, health, education, and even helping others. What many people discover is that by seeking a greater purpose beyond simply making money, they end up attracting more prosperity into their lives. This happens because when we are in tune with our values, we make better and more strategic decisions. We are not as easily influenced by external pressures, such as consumerism or comparisons with others. So, here's a question for you to reflect on. What is most important in your life today? As you think about your priorities, are you balancing your financial goals with your spiritual and emotional well-being? Understanding where you are in this balance can be the first step in aligning your actions with what really matters. This balance is what sustains a truly prosperous life. And when we find it, money becomes a natural consequence of our good choices and not the center of our concerns. One of the biggest challenges in the search for financial prosperity is the difference between our desires and our ability to achieve them. In the modern world, we are constantly exposed to things we want: the newest car, the nicest house, the dream trip. All of this may seem tempting, but the big question is, do we have the financial capacity to satisfy all these desires without harming our stability? Desiring is natural. It's part of being human. However, when desires exceed our ability to produce or generate wealth, the consequences can be disastrous. The most common result is the accumulation of debt. And what are debts, anyway? They are nothing more than the reflection of desires that we cannot support with our resources. When we spend more than we earn, we create a cycle of frustration that traps us financially. Having fewer desires does not mean having less ambition or being content with little, but rather being more strategic and selective about where we put our money and energy. The people who truly prosper are those who understand this dynamic. They have clear goals, which align with their financial capacity. They know how to prioritize what really matters and don't let themselves be carried away by external pressure or the need to show success. If we stop to observe, we will realize that those who live with fewer desires end up feeling freer and more satisfied. This happens because they are not constantly trying to fulfill an endless list of wants. Instead, they can focus on what really matters without losing control of their finances. Prosperity, then, comes as a consequence of this healthy balance between what you want and what you can achieve. On the other hand, those who are always looking for more, without measuring their capabilities, end up feeling eternally dissatisfied, even if their income is high. This happens because, regardless of how much money comes in, desires grow at the same rate, making it impossible to feel full. So, the secret here is to adjust your desires to your ability. This does not mean that you should stop dreaming or seeking growth, but rather that you need to align your ambitions with the financial reality you experience today. Over time, as your capacity increases, your desires can also grow sustainably and without damaging your financial peace. Most people who achieve financial success do not rely on luck or a windfall. They prosper because they work with well-defined strategies. Having a strategy is essential to organize your resources, plan the future, and achieve financial goals in a sustainable way. And one of the most effective strategies for improving your financial situation is learning how to sell, whether it's a product, a service, or even your skills. Working strategically means not just doing what is expected, but going further, thinking differently, and using your resources intelligently. Many of the biblical examples that talk about prosperity, such as the case of Elisha's widow, show that even a financial miracle involves strategic action. In the case of the widow, she had to follow a specific plan to multiply the little she had, collect vessels, fill them with oil, and then sell them. Without this action plan, the miracle would not have happened in the same way. Likewise, In our everyday lives, we need to have strategies to maximize what we have. This could mean investing in knowledge, such as learning about personal finance or marketing, or simply improving our financial organization by creating a clear and detailed budget. Whatever your path, having a plan is what differentiates those who just survive financially from those who thrive. Another crucial point is to understand that selling is a fundamental skill. If you look at people who thrive, they're not afraid to sell their ideas, products, or services. And that doesn't mean being pushy or pushing something that isn't worth it. It means understanding your audience's needs and offering real solutions. Selling, in the deepest sense, is creating value for others. Therefore, if you are looking to change your financial reality, ask yourself, what is your strategy? How can you apply your skills or resources more efficiently? And most importantly, what can you learn to sell? Whether it's your time, a specialized service, or an innovative product, the key is to have a clear plan on how to generate value and, consequently, increase your earnings. Remember, prosperity is a matter of working with intelligence, strategy, and planning. If you're waiting for things to just happen, chances are you'll keep waiting for a long time. But if you start acting strategically, the results will come with much more clarity and consistency. One of the most powerful lessons in financial life is the importance of multiplication. And this multiplication does not happen alone. It is a direct result of your actions. If you want to grow financially, you need to adopt a multiplication mentality. That is, look for ways to make your resources and skills expand. This requires not only hard work, but also smart decision-making and a clear vision of what you want to achieve. The parable of the talents, mentioned in the Bible, is a great example of this. Those who received the talents and multiplied them were rewarded with even more. The servant who buried his talent out of fear or insecurity ended up losing what he had. This teaches us that stagnation is the enemy of progress. If you want to see your money grow, you need to learn how to make it work for you. And this is only possible through conscious and strategic action. Multiplying resources starts with a decision. What will you do with what you already have? People often get stuck in the idea that they don't have enough to start with. However, true prosperity is not in waiting for the perfect moment, but in starting with what is within your reach. Want an example? If you have a small amount saved, you can start investing. If you have free time, you can learn a new skill that will increase your value in the job market. If you have a business, you can look for ways to expand your customer base or optimize your processes. Another fundamental point is that multiplication requires risk. Just like in the parable, the servant who was afraid to take risks and hid his talent did not reap any fruit. Financial prosperity, like any other aspect of life, requires courage to try new approaches, even if it means facing some mistakes along the way. Learning from these mistakes is part of the multiplication process. So, start thinking about ways to multiply your resources and skills. If you work in a company, look for ways to deliver more than expected and stand out. If you are self-employed, see how you can scale your services or products. And if you're thinking about investing, learn about the options that can make your money grow. Multiplying is acting with purpose and not being content with the basics. The key is action. Without it, there is no multiplication. And without multiplication, financial prosperity becomes a distant goal. So, ask yourself, what can you do today to start multiplying your resources? One of the biggest obstacles to financial growth is the habit of judging people instead of learning from them. When you enter environments where there are successful people, whether at events, at work, or even in casual conversations, how do you react? Often, the first reaction is to make judgments. That person is only successful because he was lucky, or he only achieved this because he was born rich. These thoughts, in addition to limiting your own growth, close the door to learning opportunities. If instead of judging you adopt an attitude of curiosity, try to understand how these people achieve success, you will see that there is a lot to be learned. When you approach successful people with an open mindset, they can become valuable sources of knowledge. And knowledge is one of the main ingredients for achieving financial prosperity. By judging, you automatically turn away from these opportunities for growth. In environments where there is wealth or success, it is easy to feel uncomfortable or even inferior. But these feelings can be turned into motivation. Instead of getting carried away by comparison, start observing how these people think, how they make financial decisions, and what habits they have. Maybe you realize that there is a fundamental difference between the way prosperous people see money and how you see it. And this change in perspective could be what you need to start thriving. Judging others prevents you from absorbing the knowledge and lessons that these people can offer, directly or indirectly. Those who criticize or envy the success of others rarely achieve anything significant in their own lives. On the other hand, those who put themselves in the position of an apprentice with humility are much more likely to evolve and achieve similar results. So, the next time you're in an environment with more successful people, resist the temptation to judge and focus on learning. Observe, ask questions, and see what you can apply to your own journey. Success leaves traces, and it is up to you to follow them, instead of moving away from them due to prejudices or insecurities. Remember, knowledge and experience are all around you, ready to be absorbed. It all depends on your attitude towards these opportunities. What do you prefer, judge or learn? When it comes to financial prosperity, there's a principle that few people understand well: the power of having few wants. In a world where we are bombarded by advertisements that encourage us to always want more things, more comfort, more luxury, it is easy to fall into the trap of accumulating desires and ending up dissatisfied. But the more you want, the harder it becomes to achieve financial peace. Having too many wants leads to a constant feeling of scarcity, even when you already have a good income. People who manage to prosper financially often understand that they don't need everything the world offers to be happy. They are selective in their desires and make conscious choices about where to spend their money. This does not mean that they do not have ambition or that they do not want to grow, but rather that their desires are directed towards what really makes a difference in their lives. The secret is to live on less than you earn and learn to feel satisfied with that. Those who have many desires tend to spend all their money, or more than that, trying to satisfy them. This behavior leads to debt, stress, and a constant feeling that you never have enough. On the other hand, those who manage to control their desires and live with less than they earn end up building a solid financial reserve and finding peace of mind. Think about the people who make millions but are still always dissatisfied. They buy bigger houses, more luxurious cars, take expensive trips, and still feel like something is missing. This happens because, by constantly feeding new desires, these people never reach a point of fulfillment. They are always looking for the next item or experience that will supposedly bring happiness. But the truth is that true satisfaction comes from having few desires and living within your means. The key to thriving is simple: have fewer desires and focus on what really matters. This doesn't mean you should abandon your dreams or stop seeking growth, but rather that you should be more strategic about what you want. Ask yourself, will this really improve my life? If the answer is no, it might be time to reconsider. The fewer desires you have, the more space there will be for prosperity to enter your life. After all, prosperity is not about having everything you want, but about knowing what really matters and using your money wisely to build a more satisfying and balanced life. If you want to prosper financially, you need to adopt a continuous growth mindset and dedicate yourself to constant education. This is because the world is always changing and financial opportunities evolve along with it. What worked a few years ago may no longer be effective today. Therefore, one of the keys to success is to never stop learning. When we talk about education, we are not just referring to formal education, such as colleges and academic courses. While these can be important, the type of learning that most impacts your financial life is practical knowledge about money, business, and investments. Reading books about personal finance, watching lectures from experts on the subject, listening to podcasts about entrepreneurship. These are all ways to increase your ability to generate wealth. People who prosper financially don't stop studying. They understand that the more they know, the more prepared they are to make better and more strategic decisions. And in a world where changes happen quickly, Those who settle for the knowledge they already have end up being left behind. If you want to have more control over your money, it's crucial that you take the time to learn about it. Financial education, for example, is something that should be a priority for everyone, but unfortunately, many people neglect it. They spend their entire lives working and earning money, but without ever learning how to manage it properly. The result of this is that even well-earning people can end up in financial difficulties simply due to a lack of knowledge on how to manage their finances effectively. A good tip is to dedicate at least 1 or 2 hours a day to your personal and financial growth. This can be done by reading books about finance, watching educational videos, or even participating in online courses. The important thing is to keep constantly evolving. By increasing your knowledge, you also increase your ability to earn more and make smarter decisions about your investments and expenses. Remember, the more you educate yourself, the more opportunities come your way. People who are always learning are better prepared to identify opportunities and deal with challenges. Continuous growth is not optional if you want to prosper. It is essential to ensuring you have the skills and knowledge necessary to achieve financial success. Now that you've walked this journey with me, it's time to take the next step. You've learned that true financial success isn't just about making more money, but about how you think, act, and make strategic decisions. From the importance of controlling your desires, to the power of continuous education and multiplying your resources, it all comes down to one thing: your mindset. If you've come this far, it's because you're looking for a real change in your financial life. And the good news is that this change is within your reach. The first step is to apply everything we discussed. Adopt an abundance mindset, learn to live within your means, and develop smart strategies to thrive. Remember, prosperity doesn't happen overnight, but every decision you make from now on brings you closer to success. You don't have to be perfect or have all the answers right away, but it's crucial that you start taking action today. The tools are in your hands, and you are more prepared than ever to transform your financial reality. So, ask yourself, what's the next step you're going to take to achieve the life you want? Your journey towards financial freedom starts now, and I'm sure that, with dedication and the right strategies, you will get there. The prosperous future you've always dreamed of is waiting. Are you ready to conquer it? If you like the content, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, like, comment, and share. Thank you for staying until the end, and see you in the next video.